Joey Reason, Biggie Food Shop. Get yourself a pickle. Get yourself a boot. Joey Reason, Biggie Food Shop. Pickle time is happening.
Is there a scientific term for, have you ever been in a bathroom stall, maybe taking a dump, maybe just sitting there peeing, taking
Maybe
a little,
just hanging out.
yeah,
Maybe you're
it's
just sitting
got
there
to
and
be
you're like,
in a public.
I like the smell. Okay.
It's got to be in
Smells
a public
cinnamony.
bathroom.
Public
It can't be in your home bathroom.
Then your home stall.
Right. So you got to be sitting in the stall.
Mm-hmm.
And have you ever, so this is what I don't know if there's a technical term for it. You know how there's that tone
Yeah.
that if you can sing that tone, it's almost like that, that magic note. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No. What? The tone?
Yeah.
There's a tone going?
if
Are
you
you
sing,
sure it's Joe, do you have tinnitus? Is that what it is? You're like, yeah, it's just quiet. and
no,
you're like,
it's not that.
what's
It's usually
that?
lower.
Oh.
It's usually lower. Like if you're sitting in a stall and you're singing and you're like, my mama told me you better shop around, and you're like hitting these different like notes, and all of a sudden you're like, you better you and then like the bathroom stall, that you hit its magic note.
And then everything is like vibrating at the same.
It's not vibrating. It's just there's something with your ear and the metal.
I can't
and
go
you-
that low, Joe.
You
So
know
that's-
that I don't know if it goes higher. I don't know if it's the same. Like if you're hitting like a low E, I don't know if you hit that octave up E, if
Mhm.
it does the same thing like a tuning fork. But that's what I feel like. I feel like in a stall, you can hit that magic tuning fork note.
I don't know about this.
You've never done that?
Joe, do you know?
Do
other
you have a
people that have
stall
done
at
it?
work, or is it just a bathroom?
This is a bathroom. People keep knocking on it. Like, what is that? What do you think's happening in there? Like, it's locked. Check at the door. Don't knock. Like, whatever's happening in there, there's a reason it's locked. Okay.
Yeah, but that's why people knock is to let you know, hey, buddy, get out, because I'm about to cut loose.
Man, there's other bathrooms. That's
Yeah,
that's my
old
argument.
old people can't make it.
No, there's no old people this is a staff bathroom, and there's like 5 other ones. And I'm like, what do you need in here right now? Because what I'm doing, you don't want to be in here at the same time. This is, first of all, I'm crafting a turd. It takes about a half hour. Second, it's the only place I can go to be alone at work where nobody bothers me. I want nobody to come in and be like, hey, I'm probably not going to come in tomorrow. Yeah, I'll probably
Because it's supposed to be windy.
It's windy, and I'd like to come in early. And Susan likes her showers, but sometimes if I give her candy, she'll like it more. Is that okay if I give her candy? And then you're having this.
I know she's
conversation with
highly
her?
diabetic, but can I still give her candy?
Well, if she wants to take a shower earlier, can I do this? I have this conversation every damn day, dude. And I just am like, for 15 minutes, I'm not pooping for a half hour, maybe 10 minutes. I just want to be alone. I just want to sit in there and just like, I don't want to strain or anything. I just want to coax the turd out. But mostly I just want to be alone. I just want people to leave me alone. Do you know that she left her shoes at the nurse's station on top of the food I was eating? Did you know that? Are you supposed to be eating food at the nurse's station? She put her shoes. Okay, there were call bells going off. Are you listening to me? You look like you're crying.
Mr.
Okay.
Roper
Mr. Roper.
from Three's Company. So you know what you should do to start a hubbub at the office, you should empty out your kitty litters, put all the cat poop into like a plastic bag.
I like where you're going with this, Joe.
Sneak into one of the employee bathrooms and just dump as much cat poop into the toilet as you can. Like as much as can go in. And then don't flush, just leave.
Just leave it.
And then the next person, and then like you got to do it sneaking. Like you can't be like, oh, that was Reese. Or maybe you do. But
maybe
if
you
just,
do. Maybe I'm like, whoo, that was bad in there. And then I just leave it. And I go out when all the...
Or you can do it like stall 2, where then somebody comes in and is like, oh my gosh.
There's no stalls, man. It's all one shooters.
That's what I'm saying. So like you empty this plastic grocery bag of kitty poop, cat poop into a toilet and just like mound it up. So there's a good like 4 or 5 pounds of cat poop in the toilet.
My cats have stopped using the litter box because there's a cat from the neighborhood that goes in there that we've named Carl, and it's pooped in their litter box. So now they just poop on the porch.
Even
they just
better.
make a pile. I can
Even
just
better,
go out
'cause
there
then
and
it's-
scoop out the poop.
Even better, because now it's not going to have the sand, the kitty litter in it. So continue to collect it.
Yeah.
And then put it in the toilet and then just like sneak in, dump it in there, leave. Then the next person comes in and is like, what in the world? And then start to listen throughout the day and see if word spreads of this crazy crap that didn't get flushed.
Yeah.
And see if you can do your own stall too.
I want them
work.
to know it's me. They need to know. Like, I want it to be like coming out of the top of the bowl. And then I'm just like, I'll just come out and just be like, hey guys, nobody go in there for 35, 45 minutes. I'll do it when all the housekeeping people are doing their lunch, because that seems to be the time when I go to use the facilities. And holy crap, man, do they just talk shit? They know I'm in there because they're like, this is Reese's special time. They know I'm in there and they just talk shit about everybody, and I have to hear it through the door. It's horrible. I don't know what I have to do to get my own bathroom. You know what? I live 3 blocks away. I just be like, hey, I'm taking my lunch break. And then
aren't
I
you
make
in
it for
charge of the
pooping.
facility?
I'm like technically like second in charge.
So can't
There's
you
an
and the first
administrator.
person, can't you and the person who's in charge say, hey, let's put a sign on this door that this is just ours?
No. She's not going to go for that.
Oh, it's a
Lori!
she? Yeah, because girls don't poop.
She doesn't poop, number one. And 2,
Well, of course you don't
She
poop,
doesn't-
number 1.
she's just like,
Like
she
number
doesn't-
1
she
is
want-
number
she doesn't
2
make
is
waves.
poop.
She doesn't poop. She doesn't make waves. That's why.
Like when she poops, she doesn't make waves. Like it goes in like a perfect dive.
I believe it does. I believe figuratively and literally. She
Like
does
it's
not
just
make
like
waves.
Greg Louganis
Mhm.
when it hits the water, just a perfect no splash.
I don't feel like that. I feel like we're going to hit a point where I'm going to jeopardize my employment if we continue talking about how my boss poops. And I like my job, Joe. I don't want to.
Yeah,
I
I
don't want
guess
a
you're
new job.
right. I guess you're right.
Yeah.
So so we started talking about gentrification.
Yeah.
And I want you to tell me about these cities that you've lived in that you've been forced
get all
out.
fired up.
In the middle of the night,
Mhm.
wealthy families have come and just grabbed you out of your bed, thrown you onto the streets.
Like the goddamn Cleveland Browns, just thrown out into Baltimore.
Yep, just booted. And and then your house was turned into a brew
man.
pub, a gastro pub.
going back to what I said on the non-paid episode about Ohio sucking, like all of them are so bad. Think about how here is an anecdotal story for you. Imagine being like, this city sucks so bad we have to go to Baltimore. That's what the Cleveland Browns did. Like, they were like, holy jeez, this city is so bad. Everyone's on drugs or crime or just, oh man, it's so
it's bizarre that the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is there. I know there was a radio station and a DJ that was basically credited with like launching rock and roll in the US.
Yeah.
Out of Cleveland. So that right there is probably why it's there.
The guy coined the phrase rock and roll. He was a DJ, and I think it was in Cleveland. So they were like, let's make the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame there. It's really, Cleveland has like two things going for it. The Guardians, their baseball team, sometimes, and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Everything else is like, no. The Browns? How? It's like they're like a AAA team for the NFL. Yeah. Okay. Gentrification, Joe. So as you guys know from stalking me on Wikipedia, I was born in a town called Steamboat Springs, Colorado.
That is northwest of Denver. In the mountains.
Mm-hmm. It's about 3.5 hours from Denver. It's closer to Wyoming than it is to Denver, like 60 miles. And as the crow flies, it's like 60 miles from Aspen, but like very hard to get to Aspen.
What in God's name does "as the crow fly" mean?
You've never heard that? As the crow flies?
I've heard it, but like,
just like if
you said we're 60 miles from Wyoming, and then as the crow flies from Aspen. What is that like? Is that
it's like
does
like
a crow fly west or east?
If a bird flew instead of you having to drive through all the mountain roads. So as the crow flies, the bird.
That's what that means?
Yeah. Like if you could fly straight, if you had an Iron Man suit.
I get that.
Okay. So Steamboat, when my folks moved there, I think they moved there in 1968, 69. They got married in 68. So then they lived in Cincinnati for a bit. Cincinnati during civil rights. And they were like, we got to get out of here. So they were going to move to Salt Lake City, and they were driving in. My dad's car broke down. My dad worked for GM, so he got a super sweet deal on a Corvette. So he had a 68, 69 Corvette, was driving it. It broke down. So it breaks down in Steamboat Springs. It's before the Eisenhower interstate system is built. And really, there's not an easy way to get from Denver to Salt Lake City on interstate. You got to kind of go south and then go up. Or you go on, or you go to Cheyenne, you go on I-80 and then you drop down. That's usually the better way. But that wasn't built, so they're doing all these weird roads. And they get to Steamboat, car breaks down. They're like, man, this place is phenomenally beautiful, which it really is. Like, go ahead and go there. You're not going to ruin it because you can't afford it, guys. I'm going to tell you right now, like, Colorado is beautiful, but there's 3 or 4 places you can go to in Colorado where you're just going to feel
Colorado's right for me.
Exactly. You're going to feel stupid, like when you look at it. And that is like, for real, like you're just like, am I being tricked? Like, am I looking at a painting, or am I looking at like a documentary, like a Disney thing or something?
Or am I like staring at a thing where I got to cross my eyes and focus beyond it?
Right. That is what you think. So when you're driving through, like from Denver to Steamboat, it's kind of like you're in the mountains. It's beautiful sometimes. Like the mountains are beautiful, but it's also the grass on the mountains dries out because you're like in a high desert. So you're like, this is not what I thought it was like. The mountains are pretty, like they're blue and they have, white snow capped. But like in the valleys and when you're going, you're just like, this is kind of a weird high desert. Like it's not what you expect. And then all of a sudden you go up over Ravadiers Pass. You drop down to the Yampa Valley where Steamboat is. And it's that thing where you feel like your eyes are being tricked. You're just like, it's so lush and green and beautiful. And there's these blue, like navy blue mountains that are snow capped, and the sky is like an extra shade of blue because you're at a higher altitude. So wonderful. And Steamboat itself is just like this old Western town. So when my folks moved there, it was just like, I think miners originally got there. They were like panning for gold, and then they found these hot springs, and they were like, we could probably work with this. And so they started a town. They were at the time, like, the general feeling of our country was like, get the Indians out of there. So they kept trying to push the Ute Indians to go into what became Utah, which is what it's named after. And I know that when they were leaving that area, the Ute Indians lit the mountain on fire.
The Indians weren't doing this in 69.
No. This is 1869.
Okay.
So they lit the mountain on fire above Steamboat. Which is
still
now
burns to this day.
No, there's like a huge bear patch, and it's like the best place to ski.
That's awful.
I know, but like,
tell me you don't ski it, because that's like dancing on a grave. That's like dancing on a Native American grave.
No, it's just like, you gotta.
Mister, I'm all for the Indians, and they burn the mountain in effigy, and you ski on it.
I learned to ski when I was 2.5.
Privilege of you.
Serious. Also, that's white privilege. Learning to ski when you're 2.5. Because you learned when you grew up in Steamboat. So I had no idea. I'd just be like, this is cool. And then I learned later from reading Wikipedia, like, oh, that's why it was that way. The Utes burned it to scare the settlers off. Anyway, they left, and it became this kind of Western town, and like, a lot of ranchers there. And then when my folks were moving there was a bunch of hippies. And so probably these ranchers were like, what are these hippies doing? They're ruining the flavor of this town. It was the first ski area in Colorado. So Halcyon Hill, this guy moved there from Norway, built this place. It's a little ski area downtown, but it's where all of our country's jumpers go, like where you be a ski jumper.
Okay.
It's a big deal. Like Steamboat has put out like more than 100 Winter Olympians because of that. And because of then there's like, just outside of town, they made, like, after World War II, these guys who learned to ski in the Army they were like, I love Colorado. They moved there. They bought all the real estate, and then they started to develop it to make ski areas. So one of these guys was my mom's boss when I was a kid, named Marv Crawford. He was one of the developers. And so I'm sure at this point, everybody who grew up there, like their families had lived there since the 1800s, again get gentrified out. Like, we're talking first the Ute Indians, then the ranchers, let's say then the miners, then the ranchers, then these hippies start moving in, and it was still like affordable. My dad was like very into like, they were hippies. Like they wanted to make a house. They wanted nature. So my dad, his best friend was this guy named Cub Schaefer.
Of course.
Who's Cub Schaefer. I don't know if there's any theologians on here, but his uncle was Francis Schaeffer, the theologian. His cousin was Frankie Schaefer, the current theologian, who was the son of Francis Schaeffer. But Cub was really named Francis Schaeffer as well. There's a lot of Francis Schaeffers in there. And so there's Frankie and then Cub. Cub was my dad's best friend. And he knew how to build log cabins, how to build log houses. So my dad got a loan for whatever amount of acres they had, which I think was like 10 acres, about 20 miles outside of Steamboat. $32,000. They built a house and somehow got 2 motorcycles out of it. Like, I don't know how you swing that. I think Cub owned the Yamaha dealership too. So he was just like, I'll give you 2 motorcycles. So my folks got 2 motorcycles. He didn't. That guy's name was John Helmet. I don't know what his real name was, but I called him John Helmet because he gave me a motorcycle helmet. They were all buddies. They were all hippie dudes. They smoked dope and they rode motorcycles. So my folks get divorced in about 1981. A little bit sooner.
So
maybe
were
79.
you living in that log cabin that they built? Or that was Cub's cabin?
No, we lived in it. And then my folks sold off parts of their stuff. Like they sold off to the guys north of us. My uncle lived there.
Like
at
because
one
of the
point.
divorce.
They sold it off while they lived there. They're like, this is too much land. So they just kept chipping away and they made their money back just selling it off. Okay. So $32,000. I looked at it the other day and it's, I think $1.8 million. So
I would think it would be more than that. 10 acres.
It might be more. No,
in the
they
mountains.
so they sold off their part, and probably it was like 5 acres by the time we left. By the time my folks got divorced, so then my mom is a single mom. We move into town. First, we live at a friend of hers who owned a sheep ranch. We lived in this sheep ranch for like 6 months. Then we lived in a trailer park. Then we lived in a house that we rented downtown. Then another house that we rented downtown with some friends of my mom. And then like 2 apartments. And then my mom in about 1983 was like, I cannot afford to live here anymore. So my mom was a travel agent. She's like, I can't do it. I want you kids to grow up here, but it's getting too expensive. So in that period of like it being hippie, so the ranchers are like feeling the gentrification. They're losing the Western flavor of their town. It became slowly this kind of half hippie town. And then as the 80s came along, it became more and more of a ski resort, and it became too expensive for my single mom to live there. So we moved to Denver. So right now, Steamboat Springs is the 4th most expensive place to live in the United States. Like it goes like New York, Seattle, Boston, Steamboat Springs, San Francisco. And like, I hate that. I'm terrified of going back there and just seeing like how bougie it is and how like, you know, in my head, I always dreamed of like, I want to move back there. I want that. But what I want is just like a period of time that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
I want it
you're
to
right.
be, I mean, I don't care if it's now and modern, but I also want to be able to exist there. And I don't think it's possible. I think that the only people that have jobs like me that live there, they are already millionaires. Like they're just like, I need a job. I'll be a director of nursing of a nursing home here. The hospital I was born in was cleared out for condos, like it's gone. You can't buy a house like the house that we lived in, when my mom could finally get us out of this trailer park. We rented this house from this dude, and who knows what my mom paid, but it wasn't definitely more than $500 a month. That house, I think, has been scraped, and the house that's on it is $4.5 million. It's so gross. So like all that flavor of it being Western, and like really, guys, look it up on YouTube. It's so cool. There's like Carnival, like before, it's like Fat Tuesday, like
Carnival.
Carnival. So Steamboat always celebrated Winter Carnival, and it was that. And it would be like a parade, and there would be this thing where horses would pull cowboys like on a tow rope, like they were water
like
skiing.
quarter them?
No, like they were like water skiing, but down Main Street, and they'd do jumps. Like they'd go off jumps in the middle of Main Street. And that was part of the Winter Carnival. And there'd be all these floats and stuff. And then it would end with this thing called the Lighted Man, where these people would wear like battery packs, and they would have all these lights on them, and they would shoot off fireworks, and they'd ski down Halcyon Hill, and it would be like some sort of choreographed fashion. It was very cool. Like who else has that but Steamboat? But like all that Western flavor is just gone. It's like it's there. Like I think they use it to sell things, but it's gone. There was a guy that got a silver medal in the second Winter Olympics named Billy Kidd. Billy Kidd, not Billy the Kid. It's his real name. If your last name is Kidd, why not name your kid Billy? Yeah. But he got a silver medal, and it's like, that's not a big deal. But like to Steamboat, he was a huge deal because he was like this really gregarious guy, and he sold Steamboat like to everybody. Like he wore a cowboy hat. He dressed like a cowboy, and he skied all the time. There was like every week you could go meet at the top of the gondola, and you could ski with this guy. It was like a thing. And there was all these posters of like cowboys riding with skis on their horse, and it's gone. Like it's not real anymore. So that has happened to me there. And then in Denver, I feel like we moved to Denver, and still, like we're poor. I'm like a poor child of divorced parents. We lived in apartments, and then just finally, like I go to nursing school, I get married, I'm able to buy property.
Wait, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
I'm curious if it's too much, just say so and you don't have to answer.
No.
But like when your parents were together, were they just scraping by? And then when they divorced, it went from scraping by to two single parents scraping by? Or was your mom scraping by and your dad was doing well?
I think so. When they were together, they both had to work, and they both were college, they both had bachelor's degrees. So my dad sold real estate when we lived in Steamboat, and my mom, she started out working for like Marv Crawford. He was developing all these condos and stuff, and trying to develop the resort that was Steamboat. So she worked for him, like kind of got her foot in the door as like actually the funny thing is when the car broke down, what made them stay is the superintendent of the schools found out she was a teacher, because she got her teaching certificate, and she was teaching in Cincinnati. So he was like, "Oh, we need an English teacher," and they offer her a job like while they're waiting for the car to get fixed. So they're just like, "This place is rad. Like, why do we need to go to Salt Lake City? Let's stay." And they stayed, like my mom stayed like 13 years. Um, but I think both of them working was enough for the 70s. Then I think like when my dad left, my mom could barely make it work. And I don't know if my dad, also it was like the early 80s, late 70s. And so for sure there was like income disparity between women and men. There is now, but like for sure it was then. And it was hard for my mom. Yeah. I don't
Did your mom still work for Mark Crawford or?
No, she became a travel agent. So that was kind of like a stepping stone for her to become a travel agent.
Okay.
And she kind of
That's
met
right,
the
you said
people that she knew that owned the travel agency. It just seemed like as time passed, people working in Steamboat became more of like a hobby, and they were already rich. Like, I own this travel agency. My husband is a sculptor, like when you go to Steamboat, there's a sculpture of Billy Kid, and my mom's old boss made it, like it's in the middle of Ski Time Square. And, or you go to the library, it's like the Buddy Warner Memorial Library. He made the bust of this guy, but they also owned, it's not like his job was artists. They owned a travel agency in Steamboat. Like they were already doing okay. Yeah. And slowly it just became like those people became the only people that could stay.
Until Expedia. And now
And
the
they were
travel
replaced.
agency is no more. And
Yeah.
they had to move to Denver.
Yeah. No, I don't think they're with us anymore.
Oh.
I think they lived out their lives. But like all the people that were the flavor of it slowly had to leave. They couldn't afford it. Or, like your house is 32,000 and then 10 years later it's 500,000 and you're still not making enough, like you're not making enough to make ends meet, or milk is $4 a gallon there. What do? You sell your house, you go somewhere else.
Yeah, it's like Hawaii.
Yeah.
All the native families, who've owned, who their houses have been passed down from generation to generation to generation. Finally, one of those generations goes, "We can't do this anymore."
Or
our house
just
is
like
$2 million. We could take that money. We can move to South Central Los Angeles. We can move to Las Vegas and be comfortable.
Yeah. $2 million. Like, imagine that. Imagine like scraping by and then all of a sudden, but then the place that you've sold is no longer yours. It's gone. Yeah. It has lost all its flavor, and it may be inevitable, like it may be like all your neighbors, all your friends, all the flavor of that place is being just chipped away or sold off, or becomes a Starbucks, or becomes like a new, coffee house or a brew pub. And then what is it that you're holding on to at that point? Like, is it even good for you to stay?
Can I ask a question, being
man.
devil's advocate? Is
Yeah.
there a place, like I'm trying to think as you're talking, is there a place in this world that hasn't changed, that hasn't evolved? Everything evolves. Music evolves, art evolves, like everything evolves.
Yeah.
And so is that what, I mean, I'm just asking a dumb question, but is that what cities do? Like, is there a city that it doesn't change? I wouldn't think so.
I mean, like, there's ghost towns and stuff. Like, there's places that people move away from that just they just fall, they just disappear. But I'm thinking like I thinking, like especially just the way that things have gone with the industrial. Sorry, it's my virgin dark and stormy. My virgin failure puddle. Sorry. Um, just like the way after the industrial revolution that like it makes it easier to get food. So you're not struggling and we're not so agrarian. And then like it just keeps going. Like travel is easier, building is easier. It's then like it's easier to get parts. It's easier to like make industry happen anywhere. And now it's like the internet. Now you can get things on Amazon. So like all these places that used to be super isolated are just like accessible. So why not? If you have $1 million or you can work from, like you can work from home, you can telecommute. Why not just do that from someplace beautiful?
Yeah.
And then that place becomes your new place and you had no idea what it was like before. So like for us talking about Steamboat, it belonged to the Utes because it was super beautiful. I don't think there was another tribe before then. Probably, like probably there were people before then, before the Utes, and they drove them out. Like, that's pretty much normal for like Native American history. Like you could be like, maybe the Comanches were there and the Utes pushed them out of this valley and they took it as their own. But then miners got there. And then ranchers got there, and then they got pushed out. Then the miners get pushed out. Then the ranchers are there. Then, then it becomes commerce, and then it becomes tourists, and then it becomes hippies, and then it becomes more tourists, and then it becomes just filthy, disgusting rich people. And I hear the hypocrisy in what I'm saying because I was in one of those waves of gentrification. Like the reason I love that place is because I was in that. Like my folks were the hippies. Then we got pushed out. So now what is it? Like there's something wrong about it at every level, but I don't know if it can be stopped.
I think it's a bell curve. I think you add to the city and you add to the city and it makes it better and better and better. And like when your parents moved during that boom, I think everyone who comes brings, more money, more stability, something more to the table, but it's that bell curve. And then you hit that point where population, comfort, all of that stuff is that top of that bell curve.
Yeah.
And then that's probably when your parents got pushed out. And now we're at, if the population is the y-axis or the x-axis, whatever one goes up and down, and money is the bottom axis, that bell curve. Now we're at the money as
and the population is going down because less people can afford it.
In my brain, I think like that. Like, I don't think every step of gentrification is killing a city because when it was just 4 miners there, that was their town. And then when the ranchers came in, like it made Steamboat Springs a little bit bigger and a little bit better.
Right.
And then, the next layer brings, okay, well now there's a hardware store and now there's a hotel and a restaurant, and now a church has moved into town. And so like, I don't think gentrification necessarily is evil, but I think it comes to a point, like you said, where the popularity, let's just do simplicity, supply and demand.
Mm-hmm.
The supply can't meet the demand like Hawaii.
Yeah.
And so then only the wealthy can afford the supply.
Yeah, but like,
and
so
then
talk
that
about
pops.
Hawaii, because like those those people, the Hawaiian Islanders, were like native to it. So then now they're getting pushed out because or bought out, like, is that gross or is it just like the
Yes.
natural progression?
Like that to me is gross.
See, to me, it's the same about Steamboat, but like, I'm also totally aware that I was in one of those phases of it being gross.
Well,
Like-
see that's where I disagree with you. Like kind of what I just said. I think I don't know for sure. You know, just from the 20-minute conversation that we've had.
Yeah.
I would say you were a part back in the 80s and the 70s. You were born in the 70s. You were a part of the building of Steamboat.
Correct.
To the point where millionaires, it now got on their radar.
Uh-huh.
And that's where it turned dirty. Same with Hawaii.
To me, but like to those millionaires, they're not like, this is dirty. They're just like, I found the most perfect place I've ever found.
Yeah, but then I think, so I understand what you're saying. The perception is in the eye of the beholder. But I think when the populace looks at it and says only the 1% can live there, that's disgusting.
Yeah.
I think that's the change there. Like anyone can go anywhere and say this is beautiful, like Traverse City, Michigan. It's absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely beautiful. Like it's one of the greatest cities in like the west side of the upper part of the Lower Peninsula of Michigan is just absolutely gorgeous. It's stunning. And anyone who wants to live there can live there.
Yeah.
But when Traverse City, when enough people, if enough people were to like find out about how awesome it is, and then
They will.
starting,
They
the
will,
starting
Joe.
to get in there is you need at least 2 million to get in there. At that point, the 1% of the population of the US can live there. That's when it's disgusting.
All right. So
That's what I would say.
this is what's hitting me. This is my official take on it. There's a part of us talking about gentrification that is like nostalgic. I think like people hate it because it like we're awash. All of us are just like drowning in nostalgia. We think, especially, like you don't remember the shitty parts of your childhood as well as you do the good ones. Like you're not remembering falling off your bike. You're remembering riding your bike and how free you were and how it was. Like that's just human nature. Like we do that. So we are like folding into this conversation about gentrification, so much nostalgia. Like I want it to be that again, and it never can be.
Correct.
Even if nothing changed, nobody sold their house. Nobody new moved in. Like half those people are dead.
Yeah.
Like TV has changed. Everything has changed.
Yeah.
Products have changed. Prices have gone up. There's inflation. Like the people that they've done awful things or they've moved away. Like that place in time that you're longing for is gone.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So I think like for us to talk about gentrification as being completely bad, you got to pull that out of it. You got to take that out because that's just inevitable. Nothing is going to stay the same. But what you just said about like Traverse City being accessible to everyone, that's what I want to, that's what I long for. Like in gentrification, sure, like it gets popular and that drives up the property prices. That means new people are coming in and they have more money. Does that mean the old people have to leave? Like, can't it be done in a way? Cannot we as humans structure it in a way that there's like a place for everyone? That like we are like, okay, say you don't want to sell your house, but you still want to be able to afford food here. How do you do that? Or you can sell your house, make $1 million, but you can move to this new neighborhood or this old neighborhood, but you can still afford it. Like, can it be done in that way? This
I-
is me just spitballing.
I
but,
know
like,
it's you spitballing, but I think I have an answer for it. And I think it's no. I think cities are like machines.
yeah.
And it's that bell curve. And I think like Traverse City. So everyone can live there right now. Like anyone. If you're a waitress, a single mom, you can live there. If you're a millionaire, you can live there. There's different parts of Traverse City, like the wealthier parts and stuff like that. But anybody can live in Traverse City. But as the older people start to pass away, their children who have made lives elsewhere. So
Mhm.
mom and dad live in Traverse City, their kids live in Grand Rapids, and they do what they do and their lives are in Grand Rapids. Those people aren't saying like mom and dad died, let's up and move the family back to Traverse City and we'll keep that home.
They
It's
sell
easier
the
for
house.
them to say, we have our life established in Grand Rapids. We're going to sell mom and dad's home for $2.5 million. And that just makes our life in Grand Rapids better, And then I
Yeah.
think when you reach that point in that bell curve where even the poor side of town is being snatched up by wealthy people and developers. And, they buy up 2, 3, 4 crappy single family homes at a time. And,
Yeah,
and
or
then
a
they're,
whole block.
yeah. And then they're doing that. Like, what would be a way of like describing, I just think
Man.
it's an inevitable. I
Yeah.
think every city goes, and some cities aren't cool enough. So that inevitable may be 1,000 years from now because their little machine is just eking along, right? Toledo, Ohio, just eking along. But then you have your cities where people are sick of the Toledos. They've left the Toledos and they realize that Traverse City or Steamboat Springs is freaking amazing, or Ludington, Michigan is amazing. And
Don't give it away,
so
Joe.
what's that?
Don't give it away.
Yeah. And I'm not giving the main ones away. And so then I think when that machine is working and there's Traverse City and it's starting to get bigger and better and bigger and better. Now there's cooler things to do and better restaurants and more shopping and this and that and this and that. And then the wealthy just want to be there. Then that's all who is there. And then the wealthy suck it dry. And then
That's Steamboat.
and then they move on. Like when it's no longer the cool thing, they move on. But then that city is in the, this building is not worth, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
when the wealthy move out of that city now, they've sucked it dry like an alien who's come down. They've sucked everything out of that city, and the working class can no longer afford it. You know what I'm getting at. Like I'm babbling, but and then all of a sudden it's like they leave, and that's where you have like these Rust Belt cities
Yeah.
where you got nothing there anymore, and people pull their businesses out and they leave and they go to the next big thing.
So I want to talk about this next week. It's too much for this week. We're already at 48 minutes, but like I have like probably this is part of why Amy left me. It's because like I just come up with these insane ideas. Like we can create this, like we can create this new way to build houses, or I've thought of this new way to like, this is a new, it was called the Order of Pax Invictus. And I wanted to make like like an ecumenical order of monasticism, like
I don't
an
even know what that
order
means.
of like, okay, so like you would be like a priest or a nun, but you wouldn't call yourselves that. And you could be married. And the whole idea was like to move into cities, buy an old building, and then try and like reform it by doing good. Yeah, it was basically a cult. I was thinking, and in fact, we did joke about it. Like we talked about it with like 4 other couples, and we were going to try and get it going, and we joked about it and called it the cult. Yeah. So next week, I want to talk about the cult that I almost started.
All right.
Okay.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, tune in next week for The Cult.
Love you guys. Thanks for listening to Joe and I ramble.
Yeah.
What else?
That's it. See you.
Piece of pizza.